Hello students, welcome to Vihira Academy. I am your educator Dr. Hina Devnani, and today I'll be teaching you a very interesting chapter of 11th standard biology. The name of the chapter is Animal Kingdom. As you can see here there are some pictures of animals. So let's first understand what do you mean by animals and what are the characteristics of these animals. Animals are multicellular organisms. Animals are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means they do not prepare their own food like plants. Plants are known as autotrophs. That means they can prepare their own food using sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. But yes, animals cannot prepare their own food. So from where do they get their food? They get their food from the plants. Third characteristic is animals do not have a cell wall in their cells, whereas plants, fungi, and several other microorganisms like bacteria have a cell wall in their cells. Fourth characteristic is animals do not have chlorophyll or chloroplast in their cells. Why? Because they are heterotrophs. Chlorophyll is needed to carry out the process of photosynthesis, and that's why chlorophyll is present in plants and it is not present in animals. See, here you can see a beautiful picture of all the animals. Now, Animal Kingdom is the fifth kingdom that was given by R.H. Whittaker. R.H. Whittaker has said that the living organisms can be classified according to their characteristics into 5 kingdoms. The names of these 5 kingdoms are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Now, the kingdom Animalia is further divided into 11 phyla, as the first phylum is phylum Porifera. Second is Cnidaria. It is also called as Coelenterata. Third is Ctenophora. Fourth one is Platyhelminthes. Fifth is Aschelminthes. Sixth is Annelida. Seventh is Arthropoda. Eighth one Mollusca. Ninth Echinodermata. 10th Hemichordata, and 11th one is Chordata. In the upcoming videos, we are going to see all these phyla one by one, their important characteristics as well as their examples. In this video, we are going to study about the basis of classification. As I said, animal kingdom is divided into 11 phyla. That means the animals are classified. Now, on what basis scientists have classified these animals? Let us have a look at this. There are 6 different bases of classification. First one is based on the levels of organization, how the body is organized, how the organism's body is arranged. Second one, symmetry of the body. Third one, presence of germinal layers. Germinal layers are also called as embryonic layers because these layers are present in the embryo. Fourth one, presence of coelom. Fifth one, metamerism. Metamerism can be considered as segmentation. Segmentation can be external or internal segmentation. And the last one is presence or absence of notochord, commonly called as backbone. So one by one we are going to see all the 6 bases of classification. The first basis is levels of organization. Now as you can see here, there are 4 different levels of organization. What are the names of these levels? First is cellular level, second is tissue level, third is organ level, and fourth one is organ system level. Now, how to remember these levels? Just remember this diagram. You have already studied in 9th standard about this. This is the organization of a living organism. We all know that living organism consists of cells. Cells form a group which is called as tissues. Tissues form groups called as organs, and organs form organ systems. And organ systems will form organism. So just remember this series: cell, tissue, organ, and organ system. From this only you can remember all the levels of organization: cellular level, tissue level, organ level, and organ system level. Let us study these in detail. What do you mean by cellular level? Cellular level means the body of the organism is arranged only in cells. That means cells do not form tissues. So we can say that cells are arranged as loose aggregates. They are not forming any tissues. Only cells are present. Yes, of course it is multicellular, but the cells are not forming tissues. Example of this is phylum Porifera. This is the simplest phylum of all the other phyla. Here there is a diagram of a simple poriferan. Second level is tissue level. Now in tissue level what happens? The cells will be arranged into tissues. All the cells will form groups and the groups can be considered as tissues. Example is phylum Cnidaria and phylum Ctenophora. So the Cnidarians and Ctenophores have cells and the cells are organized into tissues. But yes, the tissues are not organized into organs. Third level is organ level. Here, cells will be arranged into tissues and tissues will be further arranged into organs. The example of this is platyhelminthes. So the fourth level is organ system level. What happens in organ system level? Cells will form tissues, tissues will form organs, and organs will be arranged into organ systems. Above platyhelminthes, all the phyla consist of organ system level of organization. So these are the 4 different levels of organization, and according to this, the animals are classified. Now in organ systems also, there are different categories in which the animals are divided. In our NCERT textbook, 2 systems have been mentioned, digestive system and circulatory system. So first let's see what is digestive system. What are the types of digestive system? Digestive system can be of 2 types, incomplete or complete. First one is incomplete digestive system. As you can see in this figure, this is the example of incomplete digestive system. You can see here that in this organism, mouth is present, but there is no anus. Here also, only mouth is present. You cannot see anus anywhere. Similarly, this also, this is the figure of a platyhelminthes planaria. You can see mouth is present over here, but there is no anus. That means incomplete digestive system has only one opening, and the opening can be considered as mouth. They do not have anus. What about the complete digestive system? Complete digestive system is a long tube having 2 openings, the mouth and the anus. As you can see in these figures, mouth and anus both are present. Here there is mouth and here there is anus. Here also mouth and anus both are present. So when mouth and anus are present, it is called as complete digestive system. But if only mouth is present and anus is absent, it is incomplete digestive system. Then circulatory system is also mentioned in our textbook. Circulatory system can be of 2 types, open type and closed type. And what is the meaning of this? Open type means the blood from the heart flows through certain vessels and then it flows into the cavity of the body. That means they don't have capillaries or they don't have a closed circuit through which the blood can flow. From the heart, through very few vessels, the blood flows directly into the body cavity, which is known as sinus. And all the organs inside the body are bathed in the blood. So that is open type. As you can see here, see this is the heart, and from heart, through certain vessels, anterior and lateral vessels, blood goes out and directly it goes into the body cavity. Now what happens in closed type? In closed type, the blood flows from the heart to certain vessels, then capillaries, and again to vessels, and then back to the heart. That means blood is not going in the body cavity. So this is closed type of circulatory system. Next category of classification is body symmetry. What do you mean by symmetry? Symmetry means dividing the body into 2 equal parts. Now, symmetry can also be of different types. There are certain animals which show symmetry and there are certain others which do not show any symmetry at all. Those which do not show any symmetry are called as asymmetrical animals, as you can see here. Asymmetrical animals are generally poriferans and snails. As you can see, you cannot divide the body from any axis into 2 equal parts. So this is known as asymmetry. Second one is radial symmetry. Some animals show radial symmetry. What is the meaning of this? This means that you may divide the body into two equal halves from any axis and you'll get exactly equal parts. This is known as radial symmetry. That means you can divide it from any axis, from any direction. So that is radial symmetry. Third one is bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means you can divide the animal into two equal parts only from one axis, as you can see in this diagram. Only from a single axis you can divide the animal into two equal parts, not from any other axis. So this is known as bilateral symmetry. Examples of radial symmetry are poriferans, very few poriferans, cnidarians, ctenophores, and adult echinoderms like starfish. Bilateral symmetry examples are platyhelminthes to chordates, all the animals except the adult echinoderms. The larvae of echinoderms shows bilateral symmetry, but the adults, they show radial symmetry. Third category is germinal layers. Germinal layers are also called as embryonic layers. As I said earlier, these layers are present in the embryo, and these layers are responsible for formation of all the body organs of our body. Now, according to germinal layers, organisms can be divided into two types, diploblastic and triploblastic. What are the characteristics of diploblastic? Diploblastic, from the name itself we can understand that it consists of two germinal layers. The names of these germ layers are ectoderm and endoderm. As you can see in this diagram, this is the outermost germ layer and then there is innermost germ layer. So two germ layers are present, ectoderm and endoderm. You can see cells over here in both the layers. In between these layers, there is a non-cellular layer. You can see here the blue colored one. This layer is known as mesoglia. This is undifferentiated. This is not having any cells. So it is not considered a proper layer. That's why we call these organisms as diploblastic. Now, which are the phyla which are diploblastic? Examples are cnidaria and ctenophora. Second type, according to germinal layers, is triploblastic. What are the characteristics? Triploblastic consists of three germ layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. As you can see, three germ layers are present over here. Ectoderm, cellular layer, mesoderm, again it also has cells, and then endoderm. So three germ layers are present. That's why it is called as triploblastic. What are the examples? Platyhelminthes to chordata. All the animals have three germinal layers. Fourth category is coelom. Coelom can also be called as body cavity. But there is a speciality of this coelom. Coelom or the cavity is always lined by mesoderm. If it is not lined by mesoderm, it is not considered as coelom. As you can see in this diagram, the last one, here there is a cavity, white color, and this yellow color is the mesoderm. So you can see the cavity has mesoderm in its surrounding. That's why it is called as coelom. This cavity or this coelom is seen between body wall and gut wall. See, this one is the body wall, the outer one, and in the center, the endoderm, it forms the gut wall. So between the gut wall and the body wall, outer body wall, a cavity is present which is called as coelom. Coelom separates the muscles of the gut and the body wall. Now, based on the nature of coelom, animals are of three types: acoelomate, pseudocoelomate, and coelomate. Coelomate is also called as eucoelomate. What is the meaning of acoelomate? You need to remember one thing. Whenever this is present before a word, it means absence. So if acoelomate is written, that means it is absence of coelom. As you can see in this, a cavity is present, but this cavity is not lined by the mesoderm, so it is not considered as coelom. So this is having no coelom. That's why this organism is considered as acoelomate. In the second one, you can see a cavity is present, but it is covered by mesoderm only on the outer side and not on the inner side. So this is called as pseudocoelomate. These animals are pseudocoelomate animals. Why? Because yes, they have a cavity, but this is not true cavity. This is not true coelom. So they are called as pseudocoelom. Pseudo means false. So they are having a cavity but not true cavity. That's why these animals are called as pseudocoelomate animals. And the third one, as I have already explained earlier, it has a cavity and the cavity is lined by mesoderm on both the sides. That's why this is true coelom. So these animals are called as true coelomates or eucoelomates, or simply you can call them as coelomates. Now let's see these one by one with examples. First one, a coelomate. Space between body wall and digestive tract is filled with matrix. As you can see here, this is the digestive tract, and here there is mesoderm and here there is ectoderm. There is no space at all. All the space is filled with parenchymatous cells. Examples of acoelomate animals are poriferans to platyhelminthes. You need to remember all the examples. Second one, pseudocoelomate. Here the body cavity is present, but it is not lined by mesoderm, as I've explained earlier. Even if mesoderm is present, it is present in the form of scattered pouches. So it is not lining the cavity. That means they have a cavity but not true cavity. So these are known as pseudocoelomates. Example is S. helminthes. That means the round worms. The third one is eucoelomate or coelomate. These have true coelom. Eu means true. Pseudo means false. So these have true coelom. True coelom means it will be lined by mesoderm, as we have seen the diagram earlier. Now, according to the presence of true coelom, animals can be divided as two types, schizocoelomates and enterocoelomates. So let's see what is the meaning of this. Schizocoelomates means that coelom has been formed by splitting of the mesoderm. That means initially mesoderm was formed, and then by splitting the mesoderm, the coelom has been formed. Examples of schizocoelomates are mollusca, annelida, and arthropoda. What about enterocoelomates? In enterocoelomates, the coelom is formed from the enteron, that means the gut or the alimentary canal. So, here the mesoderm is not getting splitted. It is formed from the gut, that's why it is called as enterocoelomate. Enterocoelomate examples are the higher animals, that is echinoderms to chordates, all the animals from echinoderms to chordates. The fifth basis of classification is metamerism. Metamerism is the condition of possessing or forming a linear series of body segments. You all have seen earthworm, and you can also see it in this diagram. This is a real picture of an earthworm. Earthworm consists of many segments, around 100 to 120 segments. And these segments are external as well as internal. So earthworm shows external and internal metamerism, or we can say it shows true metamerism. One more specialty is that in earthworm, the internal organs function according to the segments, and the entire body, the entire segments work together. They collectively work for the entire organism. Apart from earthworm, earthworm belongs to the phylum Annelida. So apart from Annelida, Arthropoda and Chordata also show true metamerism. Yes, their entire body is not covered with segments, but they have certain segments. And the inner body inside the segments work collectively, not separately. Okay, so that is the first category of metamerism, true metamerism. There is also another type of metamerism which is called as pseudo-metamerism. Now here you can see the word pseudo is used again. Pseudo means false. That means they have metamerism, but that is not true metamerism. So why do we call it as pseudo? Let's see. In platyhelminthes, the repeated part of the body perform independent tasks from each other. As you can see, this is a tapeworm. It has many segments, but these segments do not work as a complete body. They work separately. All the segments have different organs, and these work separately. So they are independent of each other. That's why this metamerism is called as pseudo-metamerism. It appears as metamerism, but this is not the true metamerism. So that is pseudo-metamerism. The last category is presence or absence of notochord. As you can see in this diagram, this is notochord, which forms our backbone. Notochord is a mesodermally derived supporting rod formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. It is always present on the dorsal side. Now, according to the presence and absence of notochord, animals are divided into two categories, chordates and non-chordates. Chordates means those which have this notochord either during the embryonic stage or in the entire lives. Non-chordates means animals which do not possess these chords or these notochords. In your textbook, a chart is given in which the different phyla of animal kingdom are shown according to their characteristics. Let's do this chart quickly. Here we are talking about kingdom Animalia. As I said earlier, they're all multicellular. Now, according to levels of organization, first we'll separate them: cellular level, tissue, organ, and organ system level. Cellular level do not have any symmetry, no coelom, and the phylum is Porifera. Now, in tissue, organ, and organ system, we can divide them according to symmetry, radial symmetry, and bilateral symmetry. Radial symmetry, two phyla are there: Coelenterata, that is Cnidaria, and Ctenophora. In bilateral symmetry, we can again divide them in according to their coelom: without coelom, with false coelom, and with true coelom. Without coelom, Platyhelminthes; with false coelom, Eschhelminthes; and with true coelom, all the other phyla, that is Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and Chordata. So here we complete our first video of basis of classification. From the next video, I'll teach you one by one about all the different phyla that are present in the animal kingdom. Till that, keep studying, take care, and bye-bye.